Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute. I don't even really know how to start this one today. It's been a rough and interesting few months to say the least. And yeah, just to be like completely transparent, that is where I'm at. That is why you haven't seen any like new content or new videos from me here on YouTube. It's just been a little bit of a mental health focused month. So again, I want to be really transparent and I want to share a little bit of what I'm going through right now because it's something that is very common and a lot of women experience this. And so I am in the hopes to help normalize all of this stuff. And it's starting to get a little bit easier to say this out loud. I'm experiencing postpartum depression and very common. I didn't ever think that I would experience it, but I think more than anything, I think I felt if I experienced it, I'd be able to get through it on my own without any help or outside sources or outside, help. I think I felt like, oh, I should be able to do this on my own. This is so normal that, I don't know, it's so hard to explain. And if you've experienced anything that you question when it comes to your mental health and emotional health after having babies, you probably know exactly why it's like hard to verbalize this, because there's almost no words to describe how you're feeling or like what you're going through. So it was actually at this point in time now, it was about a month ago, my husband and I, Troy, had, yet another argument and another fight. That's been kind of one of the normal things lately, is that he is a big trigger for me. And so we had, like I said, kind of another argument and another fight. And to be completely honest with you, during our argument and during our conversation, I almost caught myself, I didn't because like pride in the moment, but I caught myself wondering, like, why am I mad? What is going on? What am I asking for? What do I need? Like, what support am I looking for? Because I was telling Troy that I felt like he wasn't supporting me. I felt like he wasn't being there for me. I felt like he wasn't helping me through, but I also wasn't telling him what I needed, because even I didn't know what I needed or what was wrong. I just knew something was wrong. And so I recognized that, wow, there's something more going on than just I'm irritated, or just he's bothering me, or this is normal, a normal postpartum experience. And again, it is normal, right? Because so many women experience this, but it was to the point where I needed something. I needed help. It was getting very difficult. And again, Troy's like my biggest trigger, right? Everything he was doing was irritating me. He would do something good and I would get mad at him, or he would do something bad and I would get mad at him. And so just kind of acknowledging and bringing awareness to the fact that like something is off, that's been one of like the most helpful things for me in this process so far, because it's only been a couple of weeks or a month now that I've like really acknowledged and accepted the fact that like, hey, something's going on. And again, I want to share this experience. Something I never thought I would do, to be quite honest, never thought I would share if I was having mental health struggles. I never thought I would share that. And so I want to share some of this journey because, again, so many women experience this, and it's almost just readily accepted to just say, oh, it's just a short time. You'll get through this. It's hard for everybody. Because I think that's so normal to hear and normal to see on the internet. And I never thought I would do this. I never thought I would get on camera and share about my mental health struggles or my mental health like as a whole in this light. I try to be very like upbeat and positive and share like, here's what we can do to help our mental health. And I'm still going to be that person, but I want to be very transparent with the fact that that's not always how it is. We can still utilize some of those things, but let's be real, like Postpartum depression is real. Postpartum anxiety is real. It's normal to maybe not be able to get through that on your own without some assistance. Or hey, maybe I would be able to get through this on my own without some assistance, but do I really want to wait that long to get to that point? Like, I want to feel good now, right? And so again, I'm going to share some of this experience with you. Not all of it, of course, because this is extremely private and very personal. I don't want to just bear it all out there on the internet, but again, I want to share that you're not alone. I have a lot of new moms on my social media that reach out to me for just little questions and help, or to share their story with me. And if I can help even just one person feel like they're not alone, or feel like they're able to take a step in the right direction for their own mental health, even if I just help one person, that is so worth it to me. So that is why I'm showing up right here and right now. Showing up for myself because talking about it helps, but I'm also showing up for the people who maybe aren't hearing this message from anyone else, and I think we all deserve to hear this message. I want to share with you kind of what I've been experiencing the last couple months, and what all kind of led me to realize, like, oh, something's going on. Again, I've already mentioned that my husband is like the biggest trigger for me. Literally everything he does or says, it's gotten better, but everything he's would do or say, even just the sight of him was like driving me crazy. And if you know me and my husband, I absolutely adore him. He's wonderful. I don't know what it was. It was like everything he did was just awful. And so that was a big thing for me, realizing like, oh my God, why do I hate my husband? Because I don't hate my husband. So that was a big eye-opener for me. I was also dealing with a little bit of insomnia. Not a ton, enough to notice and enough to realize like, oh, there are some times that I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I cannot fall back asleep. I deal with anxiety on a regular basis. Nothing that I've ever like seen the doctor for, been medicated for by any means, but just kind of this like, I'm like a perfectionist, right? So like some of that anxiety where I'm just kind of like a little nervous all the time, get a little anxious. So that had definitely heightened and increased. I was also like getting really angry. Like I had a short ass fuse. I could go from being completely fine and then get so angry and so pissed off so fast. And it also was like I could get really angry really fast, or I could get super overwhelmed really fast. Like it was just like a flip of a switch, like boom. And it was like I couldn't control it, and it was not like frightening or scary, but it was super eye-opening and super uncomfortable, right? Like unsettling to not feel like I was like super in control of like my reactions and my emotional reactions to things. And everything just felt like a really big deal. Like little things felt like a big deal. And I was taking things super personally too. It didn't matter what it was. I was gonna take it really personally, could cry at the drop of a hat. And I'm an emotional person, like on a good day. Even before kids, I was an emotional person, but I was like next level emotional. I could just like sit there while working at my computer and think about something while like in the middle of writing an email and just start crying. Like I said, I'm an emotional person, but not like that. I was crying almost every single night when I was going to bed. I would just like sit there and like sob or like sulk. And sometimes I didn't even know what I was crying about. I was just like kind of crying and it felt good. And it's just so weird because looking back, I'm like, gosh, how was I not seeing this? But I felt like everything was really foggy. You know, like when you're in a dream, or like when they show a dream on the movies and it's kind of this like white fog around the outside of the screen and everything. There's just like a fog over everything. Looking back now, I feel like that fog is gone, but I didn't know it was there until now it's gone. Kind of same thing with, like, I just felt heavy all the time. I felt like heavy pressure on me. Like I was carrying around weighted blankets all the time. I've recently started, I'll get into like what I'm doing and what I've started, but I went to acupuncture, and that was like the first time I felt like, oh my gosh, this weighted blanket is like off of my body and off of my shoulders. And I just felt like I was able to take finally like a really good deep breath, and it had been a while. And so that was like another really eye-opening thing for me, that I don't think I realized those signs until now, like hindsight, right? Because again, some of this stuff is like, it's just not out there, and I just want it to be out there. After that argument that Troy and I kind of had that like night of reflection and acknowledgement, and I realized, okay, I'm dealing with something. This is bigger than me. I called the doctor the very next day. I was like, hey, I need an appointment. I got an appointment for that following Tuesday. I can't remember what night it was that all of this went down, but I got an appointment for the very next Tuesday before work. I won't get into that because my doctor was late, and I like started bawling hysterically during the appointment because I was going to be late for work. It was a whole ordeal, which again, normally I would like probably would not have broken down at a doctor's office, but I did. Another like trigger, like, whoa, Brittany, something's happening here. But anyways, I shared with her, she ended up being great, by the way, but I shared with her what I've been experiencing, what I've kind of been dealing with and going through. Took the little like postpartum quiz that they give you, you know, like the one that you go to like at your 6-week appointment. I took that, definitely tested positive, or like scored positive on like, yes, you have postpartum depression, that's for sure here. And I actually got on a low dose medication. I'm not going to get into specifics with like how much I'm taking or what it is, because that's something that you should work with your own doctor on if this is something that you're dealing with. This is the route that I've taken. So I got on a low dose medication, and I'm going to be starting therapy in a couple weeks. I'm on like a wait list right now because everything is so backed up just with the way the world is right now. Mental health is and behavioral health is something that is definitely backed up. So in the meantime, I'm working on increasing my own practices for mental health, and I've also added some things in as well. So I want to share those because I think that's helpful to hear, like maybe some opportunities if you haven't called the doctor yet, or if you are also waiting for therapy, like hearing other ideas that other moms and people are doing that you may like to do too, because there's things that some people have recommended that I'm like, ew, I don't want to do that. There's also things that other people have recommended that I'm like, oh yes, that would be actually a really good practice for me to try and to implement to, again, just kind of help my mental health and my state of mind. So like I mentioned, I started acupuncture. I have a guy who I was actually going to the entire time I was pregnant with Enzo. So I started going back to him. He's also a therapist. Not the guy, I'm not working with him when it comes to therapy because I know him on a little bit more of a personal level. Definitely want to keep that separate. But I was able to share with him a little bit of what I'm going through, so he's able to take like a really well-rounded approach to my acupuncture care. I'm also practicing a lot more deep breathing, just like randomly and throughout my day. Whenever my Apple Watch tells me, like I just try to take deep breaths all the time. I'm also doing affirmations with myself. So throughout the day, if I feel any sort of like negative self-talk or literally anything along those lines, I will like affirm myself. So if I'm working and I'm like, oh my God, I'm an idiot, why did I do that? I will literally catch myself and stop and say like, I am not an idiot, I am intelligent, I am enough, I am working hard, I am a human. Like I just encourage myself and affirm myself to know that like, to just like put it into a positive light. Like I don't need to bring myself down. I should bring myself up, right? And then I also do positive affirmations in the morning with my daughter Olivia, so that's also helpful too. Every morning we say in the mirror, or sometimes my husband does it with her, but we say, I am strong, I am smart, I am kind, I am bold, I am brave, I am beautiful, I can do anything, and I love myself. And I do it for her, but it's also done wonders for me too, so I like to say that. Even if my husband's doing it with her, I always just say it to my son out in the living room, like if I'm not the one who brushes her teeth that morning, because that's when we do it. And then I also just like try to check my triggers. You know, if something I know is gonna like overwhelm me or frustrate me really quick, I just like try to catch myself prior to and prepare for that. Just go in with a little bit more of an open mind, take a couple deep breaths beforehand, and I try to like redirect my thoughts. Because I was having, I don't think I mentioned, I was having a lot of, and kind of still am, having a lot of like intrusive thoughts when it comes to like excessive worrying about the kids. Like I would come up with these like wild and crazy scenarios in my head that have literally never happened, and would just sit there and stress about my kids. I don't know, I like could not control it. So anyways, I'm trying really hard to like redirect those thoughts and redirect them in like a more positive light. And if I'm having a hard time just like redirecting, I will just bring my mind to like a past fun, happy memory, or I will pull up my phone and watch like a video of the kids laughing, literally just to distract myself. And that's been super helpful so far, just to again redirect those thoughts to a more positive thing. I also started using this app called Reflectly. I literally just searched like journaling app in the app store, and that's one that came up. I think I paid like $10 for it for the year. And it's got a way for me, it has like quotes that will come up like all throughout the day, like onto my watch, like positive and affirming quotes. And then there's a way for you to journal in there, and there's journal prompts as well. And you track your mood, what makes you feel good, what's bringing you down. You're able to like add little things in there as well. So let's say like work was bothering me, I'm able to select like work, angry, frustrated, and then I journal about it. And that's just been like a really, really helpful thing for me to be able to like see where my mood is trending. And it just feels good to like sometimes get those thoughts out of your mind and onto something. Some people like to journal on paper, some people like to do it on their phone, whatever. It doesn't matter how you do it. That's just what's working for me right now. And then I'm also trying really hard to just take Troy, my husband, at surface level. Because as you know, if you are with a male, married to a male, it doesn't matter, whatever, they're not mind readers. And I have to remind myself sometimes that like he doesn't know what I need either. And sometimes I just need to like straight up ask for that. Sometimes I battle too, because sometimes I will ask for some things and then still not get it. And then that brings up a lot of anger and frustration. So really being forward with like the level of importance of things for me. Like if I'm asking you like, hey, I want you to give me a hug every day. Like letting him know that like I really need that. Like that's something that's really important to me. And just stressing that and like fighting for myself, right? It's not like he doesn't want to give me a hug. I think sometimes just kind of like doesn't think about it or forgets, right? Like we got 2 kids, we're just like running through life. So we need to remind ourselves, and we need to remind like our support system and our spouses like what we need and why it's important to us and how important it is to us, right? So yeah, I'm just like lowering my expectations when it comes to that and trying to take them at surface level and trying to just really have a little bit more like open communication and dialogue. Even though like since right now he's like one of my biggest triggers, it's really challenging for me to do that. So that's something I'm working on. I hope he doesn't watch this video. I don't think he has ever watched my YouTube videos. But that's something that I'm like really working on, and it's hard. And I know like talking to a lot of my friends who are moms, or you know, even just people who talk to me on social media, your husbands and partners are also like a big trigger for you too. So I hope that you understand that I'm not like bashing my husband right now. I'm just saying like, hey, this is how it is, and it's a hard period of time. And I'm also like prioritizing my sleep yet again, because sleep is obviously so incredibly important for our mental health and our physical health. And so I'm just really trying to prioritize like getting enough sleep, but also not sleeping too much, because that's definitely something that when dealing with mental health can come up, is sleeping too much. So I'm trying to find that like good happy medium and that balance of like what's going to take care of me and what do I need. And the other thing, kind of the last thing I want to go over, is that I'm just trying to do things. So Troy and I went and played tennis together. Last night we went out with some friends for dinner. I think it was last weekend we repotted some of our plants. So like we ran to Menards or Home Depot or something and got like new pots and dirt, and Olivia got some flower seeds. Like we're just trying to do things, right? Because we're still in this like quarantine pandemic life, and we're trying to protect our kids, we're trying to protect our health. And so for the most part, we're, you know, kind of staying at home still. We're doing things, but like a lot of our time is still spent at home, and I work from home. So it's important to do things and like fill our time with activities that are like creating memories. I don't want to just like go through the flow and go through our lives and go through our days. Like I want to live, and I want happiness. That's not just going to come to me. I have to work to do that. And so I'm trying to put a lot of effort into doing that specifically. I'm also just trying to like see friends and I'm trying to talk about this. And again, that's like one of the other reasons why I'm making this video, is that I just want to like talk about this, normalize it, because the more I speak about it, the better I feel, which sounds really weird, but it helps to talk about it, and it helps to, yeah, just kind of like work through what I'm working through. So yeah, anyways, we'll see what I feel comfortable sharing like as I move forward, but I just wanted to give this as a little bit of an update, a way for people to hopefully not feel alone if you are in a similar situation. I of course am going through this myself, so if you have questions, I mean, don't hesitate to ask. I'm a fairly open book. Again, I want to keep some of my life still personal. This is very, obviously very personal and very private, but I do want to be as transparent as I can, and as much as I comfortably feel like I can. But I'm here for you. You're not alone. You're doing a great job. So am I. We're both doing great. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to continue to kind of share what's working, how life is going. I'm going to continue these vlogs. You know, if I miss a week, just remember that I'm human. And I have to remember that too, right? Like sometimes I put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself to do all of the things. And it's not the end of the world if I have to give myself grace. Anyways, long story short, I feel a lot better right now. Not every day is perfect. Actually, the last like 2 or 3 days were kind of lower days for me. I just like kind of just felt like I was going through life. But today I feel really good. I actually just got done with acupuncture too, so I think that helps a lot. And I had a great conversation with a couple coworkers, which felt really good too. So got a couple good things going for me today, which helped my mood a lot. Yeah, again, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. I would love to be a support in any way that I can. And I'll see you guys soon.